Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. No. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Good evening, young lady.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm very well, and that wonderful voice that you can hear is Miss Acantha Lang. It is Miss, or is it Miss?
It's Miss.
Okay, and welcome all to a chapter of my life with the sugar woman, Acantha Lang. A very, very good evening to you first, and thanks for doing this podcast with us, Acantha. I became available. I became aware of your music just going through Spotify and making up lists from the soul section. And this artist, Acantha Lang, kept coming and being served to me. And the more I listened, the more I really got into your music. And that's what we're going to talk about. But before we talk about your music now, I want to know who Acantha Lang is. I know you're the daughter of Lois Lang, and I know that you were born in New Orleans and you're London based. So what brought you to London from New Orleans and via Harlem? You're a bit of a globetrotter.
Yeah, I've been around. So basically, the short story is born and raised in New Orleans. Made my way to New York City because I just wanted to, kind of see something other than my small town, New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans is magical, but when you're born there, you get used to it. And so I wanted to, experience New York City, and I did that. And then how I ended up in London was I was performing at a cabaret kind of New York nightclub in New York. And they opened up a sister club here in London, and they brought me over to sing in the club in London, and that's how I got here. But this was all before I started releasing my own music. I kind of was like in that kind of like nightclub singing world. And it took me a minute to kind of figure out that, I was a deep soul and funk singer waiting to happen.
You're a bit of a blues girl as well, aren't you? You're blues at heart, aren't you?
That's right. I got my start, before I started singing in the New York nightclub. I had a blues show in Harlem. That is where I kind of started my music career and how I developed the voice that you hear now. It all started with the blues. Take
me back to New Orleans and a young Acantha. Where did the name come from? I know it come from your parents, but it's a lovely name and a different name. I've never heard of the name of Acantha before.
It's very different, isn't it? So my mom liked unusual names, and she told me she was thumbing through the Greek the Greek mythological dictionary, and she stopped on the first page, Acantha, AC, and she just saw Acantha on the page, and she said, "Oh, that's a wonderful name. I'm going to name her that." And basically, if you look up Acantha was like a nymph, like a forest fairy who Apollo turned into a tree. It was like one of those stories, those Greek stories, very tragic. But Acantha is also a flower that grows as well, that has like prickly thorns.
I'm guessing you're not very prickly.
I'm not. Everyone says that when I say that. No, I'm very nice. I'm a Southern girl.
And you've 3 other siblings, haven't you? I was listening to the song Lois Lang that's on your album, and you've penned that about your mother, about Louisiana. Your mother was born, wasn't she? And I'm guessing through listening to the song that you've got 3 siblings.
I do. Yeah, I have a older sister and 2 brothers.
So talk to me about growing up in New Orleans. It's a magical place to somebody like me that's never been there. You just see the streets all coloured and the jazz, etc., etc. and it must have been a great place. So talk to me about your upbringing, your school. Did you start singing in the church? How did your love for music develop?
So I had a very unusual kind of not so conventional upbringing as far as like soul music goes, because a lot of the great like Aretha and Gladys Knight, Stevie Wonder, they all kind of were church singers first. And they got the chops, in the church. And I was quite the opposite. My mom, I didn't grow up in kind of like a Baptist church or any, of those quintessential like Southern, black churches where you could sing the gospel. My mom was a Jehovah's Witness. It was very different kind of singing. It was more like hymns. It was no soul. And so, single parent home, but I was raised in New Orleans, which is a vibrant city full of music, jazz, blues, second lines. So, the music is the heartbeat of the city. The history it runs very deep with blues and jazz and soul. And so I guess, although I wasn't in music when I was living there, I always had an affinity for music and I was always drawn to it. And I think it was just in my blood and I just needed, the course of events, throughout my life kind of came together. And I'm so happy that I found it. It found me and, I found music and, I'm able to do it for a living now and have a record out.
And it is a fantastic record, and we are going to get to it in a short while. But I just want to still stay in New Orleans. So,
stay in New Orleans.
How old were you when you left? And so did you go through the school in New Orleans?
I went to school in New Orleans. I grew up in, I went to, you won't know the names, but all of my schooling was in New Orleans. And one of the most fun memories I can think of growing up in high school were the marching bands that we had at our high schools and football games, not like soccer, but like proper American football games. And, meeting my friends and the marching bands would come out and we would just all like, it was hot outside and we'd just all be cheering for our team. And it was just wonderful, to see Mardi Gras and those kind of, big musical events.
Did you think when you was looking and watching that one day you would sing the national anthem at a ball game?
No, not at all. I mean, I still can't believe I did that. And if the listeners want to know, I think it was last year, I got an opportunity to sing the American national anthem at an American football game here in London. They always have like at least one or two games, the American teams that come over. And it was in Tottenham Stadium for like 60,000 people. No pressure. It was crazy.
And it was the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Buffalo Bills, wasn't it?
That's right. It was nuts. It was the most intense. I think that was one of the most intense things because the national anthem is very, you're very exposed. I mean, everything stops and it's just people listening to you singing this very kind of awkward song that doesn't really, the words, you can easily get really nervous and forget the lyrics. Like many singers have done, many amazing singers have just really kind of lost it and just, not done so well with the national anthem. So I'm glad I got through it. People loved it. And it's pretty intense.
I think though, as a singer, when you're singing live, every singer has fluffed a line or two and missed a lyric throughout their career, no matter who that artist is. I mean, whether it be Elvis or the Beatles, they've all done it and you get through it. But was it primarily an English audience there with the NFL game at Tottenham?
No, believe it or not, there's droves of Americans that come to London. And I was walking around before and after my performance, and people were like, "Hey, man, that was dope. That was good, man." The Florida accents. I was like, whoa, America's in the house, But yeah, it was loads of Americans. lot.
Because if you would have sang it to an English audience, you could have sang any lyrics, because most of us don't know our national anthem, let alone the American national anthem. So you could have always have blagged it, but for the Americans, it really is. It's very much, isn't it? It's very much part of the DNA of America, isn't it? Your anthem. It's far more patriotic than ours.
Oh, definitely. There'll be people like, what you got to put your hand on your heart. Yeah. And you got to like sing the anthem and like, I mean, they really go crazy over it. They'll wrap themselves in the American flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they also performed the British anthem at the game as well. God Save the Queen. Yeah.
Yes, and now it's the King. It's changed slightly.
That's right.
What age was you then when you left? Eventually, you left with. Did you get much academic passes through graduation in school?
Yeah, I mean, I tend not to discuss my age.
Well, I did text you. Can I just interrupt? Because I looked at how old your mum was and I thought she must have had you really young. And my maths are terrible. You call it maths. We call it maths. And I meant the other way. She must have been really kind of like oldish when she had you. Because my mum is about the same age as yours. You're nowhere near my age.
Well, yeah. We shall not talk about age here, but I'll let you wonder. It's like, I'm a woman, some things you got to leave as a mystery.
Absolutely. 100%. But, so what did you pass graduation with? You must have been damn good at English because you write such fabulous lyrics.
Oh, thank you. I was good at English. I mean, I went to I did 2 years of college in New Orleans, mm-hmm. and then I moved to New York. But I always admired storytellers, and the blues, singing the blues, coming up with blues. Remember I said I got my start in the blues, singing those songs and very, very simple lyrics, very colorful, and they always told a story. And blues is all about emotion and connecting that emotion to the lyrics. And I just love that. And I think that the best songwriters tell stories, and not in a conventional, obvious way, but honest, and you can just really, songwriters like Bob Dylan and Nina Simone, and it's just amazing lyrics. And so I always I listened to how they build stories and how they use wordplay and imagery and creating a scene. And some of my favorite songs, I try to think, why did it make me feel like that? Why did that word just hit me in the heart? Why did that melody make, and so that's how I approach songwriting. It's like I try to just sit and say, what will make me feel that lyric? Like, what emotion can I attach to it in my own life or in my friends' lives? And I think when you write like that, and I just kind of put it on paper, and I try to, when I sing it, I say, did I say it? Like, is that the correct emotion? Do I really feel that? Do I really believe that? And can I really get the listener to understand what I'm saying and singing? And if I can, then that's the lyric. And I think that's my whole album. That's how I approach
blues music. Is pretty much the equivalent of street. It's a very organic way of expressing your soul and bearing your soul. Because when you actually write in lyrics, I don't know if do you write it in an autobiographical way, or is it just things that you view, you look at, and you think, I'll take that on. I've got a lyric here. I'll have a little bit of a lick here, and I'll stick that in, and then before you know where you are, you've actually got a song. Do you actually write a song from scratch, or do you just write little bits of lyrics and then attach them to a song? How does the dynamics work there with your songwriting?
I think songwriting is like, it can vary. I think sometimes a song can hit you, like the whole thing can hit you at once. Like all of a sudden it's like, whoa, Sugar Woman was like that. Yeah. I was watching, Sugar Woman was inspired by, you remember the singer Rodriguez? I don't know if you heard of him. Rodriguez. He was a kind of like a Bob Dylan type of singer in America who disappeared off he was like he never had like a massive career, but he was doing well. And then all of a sudden he disappeared, and somebody did a Netflix documentary on finding the Sugar Man, because he had wrote a song called Sugar Man. Have you heard of this guy?
No.
Okay. No. So yeah, you have to look this up. And Rodriguez was like this mythical. He became this like this singer who had this story, and people started making up these stories like, what happened to Rodriguez? Like, he just vanished. Did he kill himself on stage? You know, it's like all these like weird stories. And these filmmakers said, we got to find Rodriguez, because he had a massive, his music had made its way all the way over to South Africa, and he had a massive following in South Africa, and no one knew where Rodriguez went. So these two filmmakers were on a mission to find him, and they filmed it, and they found him working construction somewhere in America, and he had no idea. Yeah, I know. He had quit music, and he was working construction, and they go to him, they said, Rodriguez, you know, everybody's been looking for you, especially South Africa. Like, you can fill a stadium in South Africa. They all love your music. You're a cultural phenomenon. And at the end of it, they fly into South Africa, and he's performing to like this massive stadium of super fans of Rodriguez. And I thought his songwriting was so beautiful. And he had this song called Sugar Man. And I was watching this documentary. I was so moved. I was like, ooh, that's a great kind of song title. What would a sugar woman be? And then I just said, oh, sugar woman is like a woman, you know, who's kind of fallen upon hard times. And all the lyrics just came out at once for Sugar Woman. And I literally had to get off the couch and write it down. And then, you know, the other songs, I'll have like maybe a line or two, you know, like you said, this piece here, and it'll be like a puzzle that I'll put together. So it just depends.
So that was the quickest song that you wrote for your album?
I would have to say yes, from memory, yeah, yeah. Because it all came, all of the whole story came out, yeah.
Let's talk about your album. It's a fantastic collection of 13 songs lasting 40 seconds. Come Back Home, Beautiful Dream, Eventually, He Said, She Said, Lois, River Keep Running, It's Gonna Be Alright, Carry the Weight. Whatever Happened to Our Love, I think he's an absolute banger. And I thought, how come this is towards the end? Are you? Did you plan to put the records in that order? Because then after that, you've got Keep On and Ride This Train. So it is a great collection of literally, it is a beautiful dream, isn't it? Your album.
It is my beautiful dream that I've been, you know, working on for a long time. I think it takes. For me, it took a while to kind of like figure out who I am as an artist, what I have to say. I've been, you know, performing and writing and meeting people and, you know, throughout the years. But I think when I made and released Beautiful Dreams, it was the right time, because I knew who I was when I wrote the record. I knew what I wanted to say, and I had no doubts about the stories I was going to tell and how I was going to lay out the album and the artwork, everything. You know, I'm independent. Everything you see on that album came from me and from how I wanted to present myself as an artist to the world for the first time with a body of work. And even the flow of the songs, you know, I had my mom, I don't know if you hear her voice, she introduced her her song.
My baby girl.
And that's right, my baby girl wrote me a song. And so the flow of the song, I wanted it to kind of like take you on a journey and end with the little New Orleans second line on Ride This Train, kind of like New Orleans style music to end the thing, to kind of take people on out.
So did you decide that you was going to do 13, or had you got others and thought, well, because sometimes when you're writing an album, I don't mean like a concept album, but when you're writing an album, there's certain songs that fit into that album, and then there's other songs you go, well, yeah, it's good and that, but it don't quite fit into this album, so I'm going to save that for the next one. Did you have a little bit of that was going on while you was compiling these classics?
Yes, I did. I had a couple of that didn't make the album, and they'll I'm actually writing the second album, so they might make it on the second album, or they might make it out, who knows. But I'm definitely just trying to see what I want to say for the second album for sure.
All these songs, because listening to albums, and I've been listening to albums to the age of, I don't know, 6 or 7, and sometimes you'll listen to an album and you'll think, yeah, they've just chucked that in. It's not that good songs, but, they wanted 10 songs, and they've got really 7 good, strong songs. So they've put a couple of covers in and a little bit of an iffy one, or a bit of a comedy side to it. But yours, they're all really, really strong songs. Everyone could be released as a single. I think that they're really, really strong. And you've got some fantastic videos to accompany some of the songs. So tell me about some of the videos. They're of real high quality. And you can do that these days, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, I have to be very, very creative and with how I get content and music videos and things, because that stuff costs a lot of money, and I don't have a big record label budget. But I'm very creative, and I won't be stopped. So I will find a way to come up with a concept that doesn't require too much of a production budget. Usually it's just me with a simple concept, and my friend, or either some musician friends of mine, I'll ask them to come to the video. And I think the key is that, telling the story, being honest about it, and finding a good camera guy, a camera guy who kind of believes in the concept and who's willing to, take on a DIY kind of artist. And I've been very lucky to find a few directors who have done those videos for me to kind of see my vision through within my budget, but also not skimping on production value. So, and then I have another friend who owns a color correcting company, and he'll take a really high end one, and he'll go, give me the videos, I'll make them polished and make them look like you spent $1,000 on them. So very lucky of putting together, networking and teamwork. I'm really good at that. So yeah.
How good at roller skating are you?
Hey, it's Mark Marin from WTF, here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
Very good.
You certainly appear to be.
No, I love roller skating. So that was an easy win for me. I was like, ooh, I don't have any money, but what can I do? Find a park and put some roller skates on. Yeah. And I actually edited that video myself. So yeah, it came out nice. It's for the listeners, it's a video for Whatever Happened to Our Love. You can see me roller skating in London.
Which I have to say probably is my favourite track. I just think it's a good. I think, and again, I'm not sure, but I would say 99.9%. That was the first track I heard of yours. It come up and I thought, wow, this has got a great beat, a great melody, a great chorus, and a very, very, very relatable title, Whatever Happened to Our Love. If you're going to write songs about love are great songs, making up or breaking up, because we've all done it through our lives and we can all relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who hasn't been there, you know? So it's like finding, basically, you know, there's a gazillion songs about love, but it's like, what kind of angle, you know, there's so many sides of love, you know, bad love, good love, love that, you know, that walks away, love that stayed too long, you know, the list goes on and on. So how, you know, you can always, it's how do you find a fresh perspective on, you know, love and our human stories. You know, I think that's the challenge as a songwriter.
Your music, do you play musical instruments, Acantha?
I do not play a musical instrument, but I can hear melodies and sing things. My partner, who is also my guitarist and who co-produced the album with me, he is the music man, and so I will take an idea to him, and he will, you know, wrap some beautiful chords around it or write horn arrangements. And so we're kind of like a nice team to get, I do the music and melody, and he'll get the musicians together and write beautiful music, you know, to accompany my lyrics.
Does it ever go the other way where he'll go, Bab, I've got a great tune in my head. Can you write some lyrics around the tune? Does it happen that way, or is it always the lyrics, you've got the lyrics, and then he'll write some chords and some bits and pieces around?
Yeah, currently he has like a few tracks that he did the music, and I'm providing the So sometimes it's vice, you know, either or.
And he's the fella in the videos, the acoustic videos that you do. I'm guessing in your house, in your flat, in your friend's house, whoever's. But it's literally just two of you. You're in the house and you're doing either Gladys Knight, or you've done about 100, or you've probably done over 100 now, haven't you? Different songs of different artists.
That's right. It started in lockdown.
Yeah.
In lockdown, we didn't have any gigs, and you know, we were like missing performing, and I needed to kind of, you know, as an artist, kind of got to stay present on social media, but you know, what am I going to post about during COVID? You know, like, you know, the world is on lockdown. So there were a couple of artists kind of going live and singing live. And I just thought, you know what, Bill Withers, this is how it started, that series. Bill Withers had passed away. Yeah. And I'm a big Bill Withers fan. And I knew that everybody was going to go on paying tribute to Bill Withers and perform, you know, his hits, you know, the songs that they knew. And my partner had this idea. He said, why don't, instead of us doing the Ain't No Sunshine or songs that everybody knows Bill Withers is going to do, let's find a song that maybe no one has heard or maybe it's new to us. And so we found this beautiful song called Let Me Be the One You Need. Have you heard of it?
No,
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You have to listen to it. It's gorgeous. And so we did a version of that, acoustic version of it, and everybody loved it. Like, the feedback was incredible. And so I decided, I was like, we could be onto something. Maybe we'll find another song by another artist next week. And I said, you know, I'm kind of like, like I said, I'm a creative person. I said, and I'll name it a series, you know, I'll call it Standing on the Shoulders of Soul Legends, you know, and it will be a weekly series and we'll do this. And he was like, oh my God, no. And 102 episodes later, we kept it going beyond, you know, lockdown, because it was really a wonderful exercise in, you know, discovering new music and finding our voices, our own voices, and interpreting these beautiful classic songs into acoustic versions of, like, say, for instance, As by Stevie Wonder is a beautiful song that's heavily, you know, lots of beautiful production. And we stripped that song back and just turned it into acoustic with just voice and guitar. And it's lovely. You know, you could actually hear the lyrics and, you know, and people are really, really resonating with that series. So, yeah.
Have you any favourite artists that you've covered in your series, or is there anybody that you would like to cover or you're going to cover? How do you pick out the artists? because you on your social media, you're a bit of an educator as well, because I've looked at your Instagram and I thought, oh, who's that person there? You like to promote artists' work, which is rather unusual, because I find that most artists are quite insular. It's like me. You're very giving and you educate people, and that way you get people into other artists and other songs.
I think that's a very, very important piece to building an engaged kind of like audience with your music, because it's like a relationship, right? So it's kind of like, you can't just take. Imagine if you met someone and they just always taking and and they don't know who you are. You meet someone and they're like, me, buy this, stream my music, do this for me, buy my tickets. And you're always just asking people for something and you're not giving them anything. And I think one of the most important things for an artist is to, you have to promote your music and be a business, right? Yeah. And when it's time, but what else are you going to give, And so for me, I was like, I love soul music. I love singing. So, whatever I can do to educate people about soul music and, tell stories about soul artists, or, do the acoustic series and perform, acoustic songs. I think when it's time for me to kind of say, hey, listen to my music, people are like, you know what? She's given all of that, haven't asked for anything. And I think that's, it's a two-way street. And I think that's how you gotta, treat people, with respect and give value and not always take. 100%. That's the best advice. That's the best advice. And it's funny that you said that and that you noticed that, like, that artists do that. Very insular.
Yeah, I've noticed an awful lot, and it always amazes me, because if you're a musician and you like your music and you like a certain genre of music, you're into that. You're always wanting to find something, find another song. You listen to a song, you get your influences. Who was your biggest influence, and who lit your flame for soul music?
Oh, it's so fun. There's so many that I love. But I would have to say, I can't pick. Do I have to pick one?
No.
I can't.
No, we're just generally talking about soul music.
So my influences are Gladys Knight, Nina Simone, Mavis Staples. I love Millie Jackson. I love Ann Peebles. Etta James, of course, Aretha, she's the queen, and also, Donny Hathaway and Bill Withers. Those are the kind of artists. I love the old school artists, with those beautiful, distinctive tones. I think, the artists back in the day, you knew who was singing. Like, I feel like there's a trend going on with a lot of singers these days that have this same kind of, like, I can't describe the voice, but it's almost like it's like an Amy Winehouse inspired voice. Is a version of that kind of voice. And I don't know if the record company is just making $1 gazillion and they just like, we want a version of that. You know how they always kind of go, when one thing is working, they kind of put a whole bunch, they all want a version of it. But I feel like, it's that same voice keep popping up in popular music. And I'm not a fan of it, really. I like voices with character and texture and range, depth, so hopefully, it's just a trend and it'll go away and, we can start having some more legendary voices coming up.
Yeah, I think in the olden days when I was a kid, I'd get my music from radio. I'd turn on radio, I'd listen to the songs, different artists, different genres. Now, if I listen to radio, which I don't now, I never turn on the radio for music, it's the same homogenised garbage that I just think, how on earth? And then I think, how on earth does anybody buy this? And how on earth are they so popular? And then I think, well, they do, because you only play the same songs on all these radio stations that are owned by the global power of the BBC in this country. The major record labels are putting all that money in. The pluggers are plugging it. It's on every TV station. And people are programmed to listen to that garbage. And if you're an independent artist that has brilliant music, mainly your music isn't going to see the light of day, and it certainly won't see a radio station. And this has been my biggest bugbear with DJs. I just think you can't say it because you need them. But in my opinion, they're a load of button monkeys that are controlled and just completely do what the majors and what their bosses say. And there is no one now like John Peel, if you like, that would listen to a song, love the song, and play that song. So other people, I look at it and I listen, I think, well, there's 6 billion people on this planet, probably more now. If I like this song, there must be at least 20 others. So listen to this song, I think it's really good, but they don't do that.
I know, it's crazy. It's a hard fight. You know, I've been lucky. You know, I have a wonderful radio plugger who, you know, does a good job, and he, you know, I've been played on Jazz FM and BBC. But you know, they still, you know, have their structure about what kind of songs they, you know, they like to let in, you know. And sometimes, you know, my song music will go out, and you know, certain major station will go, oh, it's too specialist soul, you know. I'm like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable how, and it's almost as though, in a football analogy, oh, he's too small. Lionel Messi, you'll never make it in England, you're too small. They're just looking for a certain, you look at The Voice, somebody's just won The Voice, apparently, I heard the other day. That'll probably be your Christmas number one. It is so controlled, so contrived. And I did see that, I heard I've just been on a family holiday with my grandkids and my family. And I heard that a TikTok influencer was helping this person. I thought, no wonder they get all what they get, because it's just not a level playing field, and it's not about your music. What is about your music is personal. If you were going to a party, what album would you take and what drink would you drink?
What album would I take if I was going to a party?
Because, you know, you go to a party and you go, oh, this is my album, I put this on, listen to this, guys, and you have a few beers or what have you, and what would it be of yours?
I mean, just because it's fresh in my mind, and it was just I think it was like the 53rd anniversary of Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie. Yeah. That song, that album is spectacular. So yeah, I'll take that and have a vodka tonic.
With ice?
Huh?
With ice? Do you have ice with your vodka tonic?
Oh yes, ice, and just to make it, sweeten it up a little bit, a splash of elderflower cordial. Tasty.
Do American people say ice or on the rocks?
On the rocks.
Yeah, you would say that. You see, we would just say in England, we'd just say ice, but you guys say on the rocks, don't you? Talk to me about gigs and festivals. I noticed that you've been to Gran Canaria, you've been to Spain, you've done some wonderful festivals. They're very, 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 very useful, because there's a lot of people that go to festivals that like to look at all different people and their artists. And then you're on the stage and go, wow, I like that one. Then you can sell a few of your albums and CDs to those people.
Yeah, no, festivals are great. I have a wonderful Spanish promoter that I'm working with that has brought me out several times to Spain and the Canary Islands. So my fan base is growing out there, and I'm selling out shows, and people are buying loads of merch. I even have one guy, I think he came, this is his second or third time coming to a show in Spain, and he made his own merch with my face on it and my signature. And I was on stage, on his massive stage on a festival in Palencia, Spain. And I'm looking out in the front row while I'm singing during the show, and I noticed there's this guy wearing my merch, a piece of merch that I didn't produce. I know it. So I said, did somebody selling bootleg merch like in Spain? That's nuts. And I had to talk to him, and he said, oh no, I made it out of your picture. And I was like, whoa. Okay. Scary.
But again, that's the thing. I mean, sometimes they are scary, but sometimes they're just lovely people that are into your music and they want to connect with you. And what better way to get in the front row and have got one of your T-shirts on, not yours, but one that they've made up? And I think as long as they're normal people, I think that's
exactly. I think he's a sweetheart. He's very sweet. I had a talk with him, and and he said, "You are the queen of soul." And I was like, "Okay."
Well, that was Aretha.
Yeah. Yes.
But again, all joking, I mean, Gran Canaria is a great place to go to, especially round about, November, December, Christmas time, etc. It's nice and warm, isn't it? What parts of Gran Canaria will you be going to, or have you gone to?
So I've been to, we're going back in December. I'll be in Gran Canaria Telde, which is one of the municipals, like in the main area. Yeah. I'm going to Tenerife. I've been to Lanzarote, Canary Islands. I've been around a few of the Gran Canaria Islands, and it's gorgeous there. They're very, very lovely. They buy a lot of merch, which is awesome. And then we're going to. I'm doing my first show in Spain, in Madrid, lovely. Spain. But I've done Valencia. I had a sold-out show in Valencia. I went to Zaragoza and Palencia, and we're going to Ferrol, Spain. I don't know if you heard of all these places, but
I've heard of all the places that have got football teams, so like Madrid and stuff like that, and Sociedad and San Sebastian, and all these places I've heard of literally because of football. So when you go in there, if you're going to play Madrid, wearing a Real top would go down really well, and absolutely love it. I love your merchandise. You're so creative. Your juices must flow morning, noon, and night. Talk to me about the website where it brings it all together, all your socials. It's acanthalang.os.fan. Is that correct?
So basically, no, that is an old, link. That's like an old link in bio kind of thing. My website is acanthalang.com.
Right, okay.
Acanthalang.com, and then everything's there. So like all my music, my link, you can find my YouTube channel, my social media. But Acantha Lang is also acanthalang.com also has a sign up form if you want to keep in touch. I have a mailing list. I'm launching a new page for my subscribers that will have never before seen or heard content, like my Nina Simone shows that people have access when they sign up to my mailing list. So please do that if you want to keep in touch. And also you'll be the first to know about my tours. I'm going to tour hopefully the UK. Do my first headline tour next year around the album. So there's lots of good things happening.
This album currently that's out, you're going to be touring that album, Beautiful Dreams album.
Well, yes, I will always perform shows, but I think hopefully the second album will be, or second album or the EP will be out, and I can wrap a tour around that.
Because EPs are a wonderful way, aren't they, of just putting a couple of songs out there, and then you can dip your toes, earn yourself a few quid, and then stick it onto an album.
That's right. That's the plan. You have to, as I'm building, because I don't have a big record label behind me with a big budget, it takes a little bit longer, but it's working. I feel like people are definitely, you found me, I'm on the podcast with you, and you found me on Spotify. Spotify may not pay like much in royalties, but it has been an awesome promo tool for people discovering my music. The reason why I ended up in Spain for my first shows in Spain, 2 different festivals found me on Spotify and contacted me via email. So it does work, and I think instead of artists saying, oh, Spotify doesn't pay, you just got to go, right. Spotify doesn't pay, but it will get your music over in, Norway or Japan or, so it opens up, your music to people who maybe wouldn't have heard it, so.
100%, because that's what Spotify is about. It is a big world. And if you love music and you want to find music, you can find so many artists out there. And that's why I do find that the radio stations, I get so annoyed with them because it is so easy to find new talent, but they just don't want to come to the party. They ain't going to be having no vodka and tonic on the rocks, are they? These radio stations. We'll just have to keep drinking it for them. Acantha, it's been an absolute pleasure and a blast. I do think your music is fantastic. I think your partner is magnificent as well, sitting there with his guitar, and you've done over 100. Let's hope to see another 100 covers. Have you ever done? My favourite artist is Paul Weller. Have you ever covered a Paul Weller song, or would you ever cover a Paul Weller song?
Maybe. I've never thought about it, but now you've given me the idea.
Yeah.
I might have to look into it.
You do something to me. I think that'd be a fantastic, because you did do a cover of Etta James, I'd Rather Go Blind, and that's how I got into Etta, because Paul had covered that. And that's why I just think that artists covering Spotify, YouTube, socials, and the lovely thing about you as well is it is you, Acantha Lang, that's on your socials, and you do reply to your fans. And I think that that is a beautiful thing, because a lot of artists don't do that, but you do everything right. So I can only wish you all the best successes going forward. Please keep in touch, and I'll keep playing your music. Thank you, young lady.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you. You pair, enjoy the rest of your night. And
you too. Bye-bye, Paul.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. Bye-bye now.
Beautiful dreams, let me paint the scene. Daffodils and dragonflies. Rivers of love, never get enough. Always flowing through my mind. It's the simple things you don't...
SRB Media.
Hey, it's Mark Marin from WTF, here to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. And I'm sure the reason you're listening to this podcast right now is because you chose it. Well, choose Progressive's Name Your Price tool, and you could find insurance options that fit your budget, so you can pick the best one for your situation. Who doesn't like choice? Try it at Progressive.com. And now, some legal info. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.